Sportsline Podcast here on CHCH.com and Parrot TV. I'm Bubba O'Neil. No doubt, folks, just like yourself, are seeking sports content, especially when it pertains to athletes, teams, broadcasters, and executives from our very own backyard. Today, we speak to one of the best leaders in all of Canadian sports that's unfortunately been forced to deal with a real-life situation that requires his full attention away from the pitch.
Borges to the spot. Aparicio gets a bit of contact. It falls out to Bekker. Bekker turns and shoots! And that's vintage Kyle Bekker! A golazo from the Ford skipper! Just past quarter time, giving the Hamiltonians the advantage! What a strike from one of the best to ever play in the Canadian Premier League!
So pleased to be able to chat with this chap. Let's say hello to the captain, Kyle Bekker. How are you? Nice strike from just outside the 18.
Thank you. I'm very good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's been so much going on, and, I just think about your career, the amazing things that you have done, and we love celebrating all of that material and goals and trophies. There's so much of it, but obviously there's something to talk about right off the top. I don't want to hide from it. A diagnosis that really, I think, might have caught you off guard. Can you describe to everyone what's just kind of going on with your life right now?
Yeah. So kind of just, I feel like the easiest way to go through it is just a little bit of the timeline. So at the start of the year, we were preparing for our first two games in CONCACAF Champions League against Tigres. We were down in Mexico for preseason, and like that last week down there, those last couple of days, just found a lump, something that felt a little different. And I think I had a pretty typical reaction where I kind of just put it out of sight, out of mind, had some stuff to keep me distracted in double days and working towards those two massive games. And then it was just after that second leg when everything kind of came down a little bit. We had a little bit of a break as we started to head back into preparation for the real season. And it was just sort of in that quiet time where the light bulb went up, where I think I needed to look into this, get this checked out, and reach out to the staff. And I reached out to our medical staff here at Forge, and they were quick to set up an ultrasound, and the rest is sort of history. Confirmed what I probably knew in the back of my mind was something was up. And yeah, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer pretty quickly. Kind of mobilized and got into surgery, and had surgery here in Hamilton at Juravinsky Hospital. And it was 5 weeks ago Monday, which everything went well. Recovery's been fantastic, and done all the tests and the scans and all of that stuff, and been very fortunate to, as of now, don't have to do chemo and just on the road to recover.
Kyle, you're 35 years old and probably in the best shape of your life. What is that like when you hear that kind of news from the medical professionals?
Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. I was taken back. It's like many others, since I've started having this conversation, I've quickly realized it was just one of those things where I simply never put any thought into. I never thought it would be me. Even when I first found out, I was like, if it was that, it would feel a little different, or it'd be different, or there'd be other symptoms. But the reality is it doesn't really pick and choose. It's just the cards I was dealt. There was, as you said, I'm in good shape, and coming into the season, I was in fantastic shape. I had no other symptoms other than the fact that I felt something off, and just had to kind of go with it. So it's been a humbling experience, a reminder of our mortality, and just is what it is. But coming out the other side, definitely have a lot to be grateful for.
I've heard you say many times, and even in other conversations not really having to do with yourself, that sometimes the 25-year-old of you might have acted differently in that situation. The 35-year-old, and, you talk about family and kids and all that. I mean, how has that changed for you?
Yeah, the simple fact is it just forced me to speak up quicker. Speaking to my wife, the reality of being a father, it's not just me. If this was the 25-year-old Kyle, sadly, this isn't a thing I'm proud of, but there's no doubt I push it out for weeks, maybe even months longer before I go and get it checked out. And there's nothing to be proud of in that reality. the way in which how quickly this was diagnosed, how quickly it was found, and how we acted on it is the reason that I'm able to potentially come back to the season and doing what I love much quicker. And that's the message that I want to get across. It's something that affects a lot more people than I knew. It affects everyone in my age range, in our locker room. So this is something that affects guys from 19 to 35, most prominently. And delivering that message to the group is when it really kind of hit me that, if I have a chance to talk about it, I'm going to.
And I think that's great that you brought that up, because I was wondering what that was like, because that's one thing to get the news, but to share the news to loved ones and, your teammates who no different than the people I work with here. I see these people more than my own family. And to sort of give that news sometimes could be very difficult, I would presume.
Yeah, I mean, you just touched on it there. In sports, for sure. I think much like other workplaces, we spend more time in this locker room together, on the road, traveling, competing, than we do hanging out with our own family and the people that we care about. We have guys who are away from their family for 8-9 months at a time. I'm fortunate to have my family here and obviously be with my wife and kid, and that support has been fantastic. But when you stand up in front of that group on a day-to-day basis and you're going through something, these are the guys that you need to be able to lean on, and their support has been incredible. It means so much to me. But again, it's like you start having that conversation, you see the reaction on guys' faces, and it takes you back.
Just simple question, Kyle. Like, were you, even though you've gone through what you've gone through and that you've had, medics look at you, treat you, what's your fear level? Are you afraid, or do you battle something like this, or do you get mentally? How have you dealt with this mentally?
I think the initial struggle is just when you get the results, the ultrasound, and it kind of confirms what you feared, but you were pushing away. You didn't really want to give too much space to or time to, and then there is that moment, that shock, and all the fear and everything that comes with a word like cancer, the unknown. I didn't know anything about it. I've unfortunately had family members who've dealt with it, and again, because it is so scary and the pool of cancer is so vast that your mind goes to one place. And then once we start having the discussions with the doctors and the medical staff here, it was eye-opening to the fact where this could be a little quicker than I once thought. And it was just like, all right, next thing up, let's go do it. Let's deal with this. Let's get this sorted out quickly, because that's the right way to take care of it. And maybe that's just a little bit of my nature. Going through injuries over the course of my career, it's just, okay, this is the reality. Let's deal with it. What's next? How do we get back? You're going to say however many weeks, and I'm going to try and come back quicker. That just is what it is. And I think that those experiences I've gone through have helped me in this journey, but by no means am I completely out of the woods yet.
The great thing is, as you talked about, you have the support from your teammates, your family, friends. I'm sure fans have probably reached out to you as well. Is there any plans to return this season, or is this kind of a touch and go situation?
Oh, the return timeline is on. It's a ticking clock now. I'm pushing every single day to get back quicker. Hopefully, just a few more weeks and I'll be back on the pitch. But obviously, still need to listen to my body, take care, and do what's right.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck in all of that, Kyle. I'm sure that's been a load on your brain, your shoulders, something to battle through as you will continue to take your journey upon this. But let's talk some football right now.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about your squad. And in fact, you know what? I won't even do that yet. I want to start from the beginning here. Obviously, a guy that comes up through in the Oakville junior programs, minor programs. You had your stint at Sigma. A very, very fortunate. We talk about back in the day, and I'm a little older than you, but that sort of thought that, oh my goodness, I'm going to play at a big U.S. college. And you did that at Boston College. But now I want to ask you about MLS. That day you got drafted by TFC. What was that like for you when you think back to these days and see these upcoming visuals?
Yeah, I mean, being a professional soccer player has been a lifelong dream of mine. And that day, obviously, it's a dream come true. was a culmination of a ton of hard work, a ton of sacrifice, a ton of support from my family, all these people who are in this video right here. So it's special, it's an exciting time and the start of another journey.
Was it all that you expected it to be?
Yes and no. I think looking back, obviously, when you're young and you're just kind of going a million miles a minute, you don't think you're really going to be met with any, I don't know, hardship or turmoil or whatever it may be. You're just excited and you believe in yourself and your ability, and you think it's all kind of just gonna keep going forward. But the thing that looking back on that time, it was just I wish I had a little bit more of a reset in terms of goals and what I wanted to do. It's stepping into a new environment. You got to get used to it. You got to get acclimatized, and you got to do it quickly, and you got to adjust to the level, adjust to the new challenges that are being faced with. Coming out of college, some people can do it quickly, some people need a little bit more time, and there's a ton of factors that go into that situation. So it was and it wasn't, and that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It was just a learning experience.
I mean, you had a cup of coffee with some different teams across the MLS, and then you end up, I believe, in the NSL. I think that's where it ends up. At that point, are there doubts about your career, or as you said, and you've said there's a reality of being in professional sports, and I think we also realize that professional sports is a business, and sometimes things are tremendously out of your control. Before the Forge experience, where were you with professional soccer?
Yeah, I mean, you spoke of that quick trip in NASL to San Francisco, and I think that was a pivotal point in my career. It was one where I was fortunate enough to be connected with a head coach in Mark DeSantos, who's now doing great things at LAFC. But it was everything I needed at that time. He was someone who showed me a lot of patience and a ton of confidence, and was there for me when I needed to find my joy in the game again. And that was a little bit of a backward step, I think a lot of people would say, in terms of where I was at, but it was one that was necessary for me at the time, just to get my feet back under me and get going, feel confident, find the love for the game again, and believe in what I was capable of doing. And it's funny, you look at the course of a professional career, to be doing this for 10 plus years is no easy feat, because there is so much stuff that's out of your control. It's timing, it's people in certain places, it's position you're playing, whatever it may be, injuries, all these things that go into someone signing for a club at a point in time and then going on and having that success. It's not always about just going out there and being the best player that you can be. Obviously that's a huge part in it, but there is so much stuff that's out of your control, and that's a reality check you get when you transition from amateur, whatever level that may be, into the professional game. So at that point in time, until 2017, going to San Francisco, hooking up with Mark DeSantos and doing all that was fantastic. And it kind of gave me that new lease on life to go out and continue my career.
Could you have ever thought, when in your teenage years, that there would be a Canadian Premier League, a Canadian Pro League, an opportunity to play at home? And that blossomed. But there had been other incarnations of professional soccer attempting to make it work, and for different business reasons, it didn't work. Was there a fear, or was this something you were going to go 100% into when Forge became a reality for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Like the dream of having professional soccer in your own backyard was something that I always wanted as a kid. I remember just going down to Bronny Park and watching Toronto Lynx play and thinking it was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And then just to see how far we've come in this country, to see the growth of this game, to see how many good people are putting themselves into the sport and making sure there is more opportunities, and see how far we've come is special. But yeah, when that point in time came, it was, again, you talk about timing, and I think it was just perfect timing. I had the opportunity to go a few other places, and yeah, okay, there's a chance it could have been a little bit more financially positive for me, but it wasn't something that I was fully bought into. And yeah, maybe I would have been there for a year, maybe I would have been there for a year and a half, whatever it may be, but I wouldn't have been bought in, and the longevity and the consistency and simply just the idea of being a part of something that was so much bigger than myself is what really attracted me to Forge FC and the prospect of the CPL. There's an opportunity to come back home and be closer to my family, and again, just simply be a part of something bigger than myself. And to be where we are today is there's no chance anyone a part of the league could have said that they saw it going as well as it has, especially battling through a pandemic.
Yes.
But it's been crazy. It's been special to be playing Champions League year over year, to be winning the trophies that we've been winning, to have the success we've had here at Forge. It's been special.
Can you believe I won't even start with the personal success, but the team that you selected to play for, Forge itself, the win-loss records, just like you just said seconds ago, the trophies that you've enjoyed, the fact that you've played in international places where maybe at one point of your career, in Mexico, that seemed unthinkable that you would ever play there, and you've walked into those hostile environments playing in those situations. Does it blow you away, or is that just something maybe when you're retired you look back on?
No, absolutely. It's surreal. Playing away against Tigres, a Mexican giant, playing at the Azteca against Cruz Azul. Like, these are things that don't just happen. And the fact that we've built this within the CPL, we've had teams who can go out, be competitive, and showcase what we're all about in the short lifespan that we have in the infancy stage of this league. It's insane, but it's a testament to the quality that's in this country. We've always known, people who are in and around this sport, that we have quality. It's just we need to get more doors open. We need to keep developing, whether it's coaches, whether it's people on the business side of things that are involved in this game, that truly love the game and want to grow it. And then it's just players themselves, giving them the chance to go out and live that professional life day in and day out and see how far they can go, see how far they can raise their ceiling. And you're seeing it across the league, all over the different clubs. The guys making these transfers, making the jumps, and going and having success. So it's something we've all kind of known who's been involved in the sport, but obviously it's still a little bit of a pipe dream. And to be a part of it and watch this thing grow has been special.
What about your leader, Coach Bobby? What's he like? The success has been unmatched, but what's he like?
He's a great guy, man. I've been fortunate enough to have a relationship with him for, I don't even know, like going on like 15, 16 years, something like that. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that one. But yeah, he's someone obviously who I've been very, very fortunate enough to work with, but he's more than that. He's a friend. He's someone who's there for everyone who works in this club. Every player who he works with, he's there. He tries to get them better, and he wants the best from you. He's going to push you. He's going to demand a level of professionalism that I think some can see and find incredibly intense. But the reality is, he just wants to get you better and push you to a place you didn't even know that you had.
For yourself, and I do want to thank you for talking about the team's success, but what about your personal success? You've been a guy that has been nominated for top player in the CPL numerous times, a winner as well too. The success that you have had playing the way you do as a leader in the midfield, kind of an offensive one, it seems to me. What has that been like for you?
I mean, it's just been, to be a part of this, it's been special. I mean, anything I've ever won is simply just because of the people around me. I'm not the type of player I am. I'm not a guy who's going to go out and win a game on my own, and I know that. And I don't think there's any weakness in that. I need the people around me. I want to make guys better. I want to push and motivate, and I want to do all that. But my success is their success. I don't have it without them. That's just a fact. And everything I've achieved is because our group has we've dreamed about a higher standard, and we've gone out every day. We've competed and we've pushed and we've got there together.
It really has been amazing to watch, and in some of the successes that you have had. And I think one of the great things about the Canadian Premier League is that we're starting to see the development of rivalries. I asked Coach Bobby about this last week, and he kind of played it off, of course, about Bobby wheeled in and all that goes on there on the sidelines and some of the antics. But can you explain to me, what is with you and Cavalry? If there's not pushing and shoving, and this has been going on for years, even just recently this week, yellow card situations, what is it about Cavalry FC and Forge FC when they share the pitch?
Well, I think just the nature of playing a team 4 times a year. In our case, it's usually more like 5 or 6 times a year with playoffs and finals over the year. You're going to find little things that annoy you about the other team. And then on top of it, you have two incredibly competitive teams that have been this competitive since day one. Both of us in that first year, we were pushing to be the first team who won the cup. And then it was I don't think it was any surprise to anyone that we were the two facing off in the final. And I think that year you're playing each other 7 times. So when things kick off like that, it's only natural that things are going to get a little heated. Obviously, there's been some funny business over our time against each other, which adds a little gasoline to the fire, which is nice. But those are the things you like. You want to go out, you want to compete, you want to push each other, you want to find something that kind of gives you a little added motivation against the other team, and go on and give you that motivation to get one over on them. But other than that, I think there's also there's different philosophies. Again, there's no right or wrong behind them. They have a different identity than us, but we go out and we do it to the best of our ability. And I think on any given day, they mesh well and they pride for some good entertainment.
Well, as I said, 3 games through the season, and you've unfortunately been watching from the sideline. But when you look at your side, what do you or fans, what should they expect from the 2026 version of this club? And I know Bobby has said it to me several times, and all coaches say it, that every team is different every single year, regardless of the success. And there has been some changes for this year's side. But your thoughts on your club this year?
Yeah, I mean, so far I'm very excited. I think there's a ton to be excited about. I think we've added a few key pieces in Antoine and Dimitri, which gives us a level of maturity that we might not have had or have been lacking in years past. And the quality and the experience that those two bring is incredible. Their level of compete, their level of professionalism is something that can drive us forward. And then just the amount of players that we were able to bring back from last year is huge, because we have that core, which had so much success last year and understands the standard and the expectation to show up here every single day when you're wearing that Forge jersey. And then aside from that, I think we do have some young pieces, and those young pieces are exciting. They're going to be given a ton of opportunity, and that's what this league's all about, is giving and showcasing the young talent that we have, and then seeing what they're able to do with it. And we have a ton of quality in those boys who are U21. Now it's up to them to go out and take that chance and make it very difficult for those behind them to get their place in the lineup back.
Well, I'll tell you, Kyle, I mean, I've talked to too many people on the inside, and I don't know how much longer you want to play for. I'm sure you will push it as far as you can. And the people on the inside that I have talked to, they just rave about your leadership ability. I know that you're going through it a little bit right now. You seem as strong as ever. We've seen you as a player, and as I talk about, again, your leadership, but your playing ability as well, too, and someone that appreciates the sport like I do. And I know many of the fan base here in Hamilton, we certainly appreciate you and all that you do. Continued success. Can't wait to see you back on the pitch there, partner.
Thank you so much. I mean, the support has been outrageous. I can't say it enough. The fans here, they're the best ever. We've known it, but this past week has been overwhelming, and something myself, my family won't ever forget, and it means the most. As I said, look forward to seeing you on the pitch, partner. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. All right, folks, that's your Sportsline Podcast for the day. And as you've just seen and heard, we love talking to quality people. If you do know of an athlete, team, or event to promote the Sportsline Podcast, you want to hear from you, please hit that thumbs up, like, and subscribe button. If you have something to say, hey, let it rip. For the wonderful people that make the Sportsline Podcast possible, I always say thank you, and we'll see you real soon.